You have already learned how to subtract fractions with like or unlike denominators. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to subtract mixed fractions. One common approach of subtracting mixed fractions is to convert them to improper fractions. The steps involved in this approach are written here on the board behind me. So let's take a look at those and see how we subtract mixed fractions. Our first step is going to be to convert all mixed fractions to improper fractions. And the second step will be then to subtract the improper fractions. And the third step is to convert the answer back to mixed fractions if needed. So let's take a look at an example and go through these steps with this example. So our example tells us to subtract 5 3/4 minus 3 3/8. So we have two mixed fractions here, and we need to follow the steps. First, we're going to convert our mixed fractions to improper fractions. So let's start by converting 5 3/4 to an improper fraction. And you remember how to do this. We multiply the denominator of the fraction by the whole number, and then we add the numerator of the fraction to that number. So 4 times 5 is 20, add 3 is 23, so we have 23/4. So then we put that denominator back in here just like it is here. So we multiply 4 times 5, add 3, that becomes our numerator, 23, and then our denominator stays the same as the denominator of our fraction. So let's do the same thing then with the 3 3/8. We are going to convert this mixed fraction to an improper fraction. So we do the same steps. We multiply the denominator of the fraction times the whole number, and we add the numerator. And then we put that number in the numerator, and we keep the denominator as it is here in the denominator of the fraction. So we're going to do 8 times 3 is 24. Add 3 is 27. So our numerator becomes 27, and our denominator remains as it is, as the number 8. And so now we have completed the first step. We've converted all our mixed fractions to improper fractions. And now we go to step 2, which simply tells us to subtract these improper fractions. So I now have 23/4 minus 27/8. And now this problem is in the form that's just like the subtracting of two improper fractions with unlike denominators. And so we've learned how to do this before, and we know that in order to subtract these, we need to find the least common multiple of our denominators, 4 and 8. The least common multiple of 4 and 8 is 8. And so we want to make both of our fractions have a denominator of 8. This fraction here already has a denominator of 8. It already has the denominator that's the least common multiple of these two numbers. But this fraction here, 23/4, we need to make this have a denominator of 8. And so in order to make this 4 and 8, we would multiply it by 2. And whatever we do to the denominator of a fraction, we have to do to the numerator as well. So what we end up with here now is we have 23 times 2 in our numerator, which is 46. And then in our denominator, we have 4 times 2, which is 8. So we've now converted 23/4 to 46/8. Forcing this to have a common denominator with our other term, 27/8. So we have 46/8 minus 27/8. Now that we have rewritten this problem in two common denominators, all we need to do is subtract our numerators. So we're simply left with the problem of 46 minus 27, which equals 19. And we're going to place the 19 in the numerator with our common denominator here of 8 staying in our denominator. So now we've completed step 2 of subtracting the improper fractions. 46 eighths minus 27 eighths equals 19 eighths. So now let's look at our last step, step 3, in which we are asked to convert the answer back to a mixed fraction if needed. So this is still in an improper fraction form where my numerator is bigger than my denominator. So I do want to convert this back to a mixed fraction. Convert the answer back to a mixed fraction if needed. So 8 goes into 19 2 times. So our whole number is going to be a 2. 8 goes into 19 2 times. 8 times 2 is 16, which leaves us a remainder of 3 up to the 19. So we have a remainder of 3, and we put that remainder over our denominator of 8. And we can always check our mixed fraction to see if we got the answer right by doing the little trick of multiplying the denominator by the whole number, adding the numerator, and seeing if we get back to here again. So let's check our answer and make sure that 2 3/8 really is the mixed fraction of the improper fraction 19 eighths. So we would multiply 8 times 2 is 16. Add 3, 16 plus 3 is 19, so the 19 should be in the numerator, and sure enough it is, and then our denominator would be the same of 8. So our answer is correct. We have 5 3/4 minus 3 3/8 equals 2 3/8.